So today I'm in my sister's beautiful kitchen and we have a couple projects going on. But what I'm gonna show you right now is how to render fat. So this video is gonna cover bear fat, beef fat, and pork fat. Because this process is the same for all of them. I'm going to grind them all separately and render them all separately, but the process is the same. The bear fat is a new one. We've never done this before, but my goal for it is we want to try a bit of cooking with it simply because I've read so many pioneer books in which they relied on bear fat. But the other thing is my sister's husband has a favorite shaving soap that is made with bear tallow. So we're gonna try that too. The beef fat, actually one of those bags is beef fat too, becomes beef tallow, and it we use for tallow balm, a lotion for our skin, or like a thick salve, or just for cooking. Tallow is amazing. And then pork fat, I have this one bag that actually got forgotten from last year. So often I find stuff that is a bit older will taste a little porkier. So I'm gonna render this separately and it will be things that I'm cool with it tasting porky, and the other stuff will get rendered and it will be for more delicate things. Lard is our absolute favorite for deep frying donuts and other deep fried things. We don't make a lot of donuts or deep fry, but when we do, it's always with lard. So I've got the first bit of fat in this big pot. This is about a 4 or 5 gallon pot. And I'm just gonna add half a cup of water. This is gonna start it steaming and going. And once it starts melting, I can just keep adding more fat. As it melts down, just keep adding more and more. I'm just gonna put this on kind of medium low. So as you can see, these two different fats look quite different. This is both bear fat. This is the bear fat that was inside of it. This fat is a lot firmer and waxier almost. This is, if you were being particular, this would be the fat that gets used for pastries and more delicate flavored things. And this is back fat. This is what's trimmed off of the back of the carcass of the bear. And it is softer, it's whiter, it's got bits of meat that are gonna be rendered out. Bear fat, where we live at least, you won't find fat on a spring bear. You need to get a fall bear. We'd never had a fall bear before, so we've never had bear fat. But when my husband got a fall bear, I was quite excited to see how much fat there was for me to render. So you can see this is already melting down, getting softer. This process goes pretty quick once it starts going, and once there's already some melted, and you start adding more in. So you can see melted fat now, and this pot is way low down. So I've got another bowl of fat. I'm gonna add this in. I did decide to keep the kidney fat separate, and I'm just rendering it on its own because it's gonna be more delicate in taste. So this fat is the bear kidney fat, and it is all melted. It was bubbling a bit, so I turned it off quick. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to skim out all these impurities, because these are tiny bits of meat and impurities that will flavor the fat. So we don't want this to bubble in here. We're gonna get all these out of here. So now I have moved this, I just ended up putting it in this clean pot, and I'll wash the other one out. And I put it back on medium-low. We've got sausage here that we're testing. And we're gonna gently cook it on low just to get the moisture out so it keeps better. So now I've got the beef fat going in another pot. And you're gonna notice that this is really redundant because guys, it's all the same process. You're doing the exact same thing for all the fats. So I thought about doing these in their own videos, but really, I want you to know that no matter the fat, you're doing it the same way. If you don't have a meat grinder, you can cut it up small, like 1-inch dice, and it works out really well. It doesn't render quite as quick. The meat grinder is really nice. For a long time, I used a crock pot, and then I read a book, I forget the exact name, I'll link it below for you, all about rendering different fats and cooking with different fats, and it's such a good book, and it encouraged me to try the stovetop method, and I discovered this is actually a lot faster, and you end up with fat that's a lot purer, cleaner, more neutral tasting, your lard is whiter, it just works out a lot better. And if you're doing a lot of fat, this is so much faster because you can only fit 5 to 7 pounds in a crock pot, and you can do so much fat in one of these because once it cooks down, you add more, cooks down, add more, and you're golden. So we've got a lot of things going on the stove here. Here's coffee. So I've turned this off now. There is no more steam coming out. If I was super particular, I could strain this through paper towel as well. There's a tiny bit of sediment on top, but I'm not a super particular person. If you want, line your strainer with paper towel and strain it through there. The beef fat is cooking down. I can add some more there. The bear fat is getting close. Low and slow. We don't want to burn or brown this meat. So I'm cutting up more beef fat. And the trick is you want this as frozen as you can handle because it needs to be really cold to go through the meat grinder, and it's easier to deal with when it's really cold and then it's not as greasy, but it still is greasy. Your hands get greasy, your knife gets greasy, and just be really careful, guys. It's easy for your hand to slip and then you're gonna end up slicing your hand open. So I did end up separating out kidney versus back fat because the kidney fat was so much nicer and everything. So we've got bear kidney tallow, which smells pretty decent. The bear back fat, guys, it's a little strong and fishy smelling. We're not quite sure what's gonna happen with this, but we'll just see. Maybe it'll just be good for frying fish in. Because bears eat so much salmon around here is why you can end up with the fat tasting like salmon. Then we have beef back tallow. See how it's getting, as it cools down, it gets lighter in color. And then we have the bear kidney tallow that I just poured. This will be the nicest stuff that I'll use for tallow balm. And then in here we have the pork, which is white. And the cracklings in here are a lot lighter. This one's just about ready to be strained out. And this is the leaf lard that I just started. When I did the beef, where did I hide that? Over here. This munchkin has been so cranky all afternoon. Oh, now you're happy? This is the cracklings from the beef. And I considered using it for something for us to eat, but the consistency, I just couldn't do it. So I'm gonna bag this up and use it for dog food and feed it out to the dog. I don't wanna give it to her all at once because I think it would give her the runs.